in those pants? And that's a good question. It's a fair question to ask, because you might have a bazooka down there. You could have a suitcase with spring clothes, even though it's winter, which would be totally anomalous, and that would need to be looked at. I would question what was in the fat. You might have poison in there, sarin gas, all kinds of terrible things. That's why you got to ask what's in them pants, even though the Dirty Dancer has danced enough where you should be able to tell what's in the pants. You got to ask what's in them pants. It's a safety question. Safety first here, and then you do the safety dance. Let's see. I got who do I have? Lester, who's going to help me with some audio shit. He's a pro, an old pro from Mobster Boss Radio, but I don't have the energy to get into that. So, I've got my cell phone hooked up to the mixer now. The Skype lines are working, but we tried to do a test show tonight to see if I could host the show because Guy's setup is broken down, and there's no way. Not with DSL. I can't do it. I can't handle the bandwidth. So working on all that always. It's always in a state of flux. Or as the funny physicists like to say, what the flux, man? Yeah, that's not funny. Don't ever try to be funny if you're an astrophysicist. Have you noticed that? And have you noticed black scientists? Oh, man, if I were black, this would be so offensive to me. So they put Neil deGrasse Tyson up. Now, he's a pretty smart scientist. He wouldn't make my top 100, but he's pretty smart. But now they're taking just about anybody who's of color that's also a physicist or scientist and putting them into the rotation on these shows, these science shows. And you can just hear the producer screaming, "We've got a black guy that sounds smart." That sounds so stereotypical to me, so racist. You could feel it through the show. Like on Outrageous Acts of Science, there are plenty of people I've seen on that show that are incredibly brilliant, and they went out and got this black guy, and he's marginal as a scientist. He gives only very basic descriptions. He stumbles over his words a lot, and I know what they're doing. And I think it bothers me because I know what they're doing. I know they're putting in a token Negro on the science show. And it shouldn't be so exciting to people to see someone black sound intelligent. Because if you knew enough people, then you would know that there are plenty of black intelligent people. It wouldn't be a shock to you. The fact that they're doing this for a shock factor is demeaning and demoralizing to me. If I were black, I would be pissed off about that. And what else I wouldn't like if I was black? I wouldn't like it when white people walk up to me and try to sound black. Would that bother you? That would be like me walking up to Andrew and trying to sound Australian. Or saying anything about wallabies, which I have done, I admit, I confess. Yeah, I have to keep working the audio. Thank you, Desert Rose in the chat room. OC Andrew in there. We've got some lurkers, I can tell. And that's okay. We didn't have an evil show tonight, so I had to do this. I felt like I had to put some... I had sort of worked myself up for the evil show, which is Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time with myself and Debbie Scott, who's referred to as the trailer park lady, but she's not, but still, because everybody's a character. I'm the evil consultant, is as far as I'll go. I don't associate with any group, so I'm not part of any evil group. I'm simply a bystander who offers input, and I'm definitely a lone wolf type. So, and Guy's on there, and Louie's on there, and Peter Boy is on there sometimes, the Mad Scott, and I haven't figured him out yet. He's on and off, in and out, up and down in his moods. I'm not sure what's up with him. Maybe I just don't understand people from Scotland, which is not a good thing considering I just started writing my William Wallace book. And this is so Andrew's back at work. Well, this book that I'm writing now is going to be like Braveheart, except it's not going to be anything like Braveheart. Yeah, it sounds like a dichotomy in thought and speech, doesn't it? But it's not, because Braveheart wasn't very accurate on the William Wallace story. And they used a little bit too much dramatic license, or whatever you want to call it, artistic license. A little bit too much there. So I'm going to bring the story closer to what really happened, but there's still going to be some filling in and stuff from my imagination. I mean, I have to. They don't have a whole lot of fact written down in coordinated records from England and Scotland about him and his life and the people he hung out with during that time. So that's going to be difficult. So I was going to talk to the Mad Scott about that and try to get the tempo of the Scottish culture down, because those things tend to last through the centuries. The way families talk to each other and the way they behave and how seriously they take religion. And there may have been a major change in the last 50 years, but before that, I'll bet it was pretty stable. And he could probably tell me about that, but I don't know. I'll have to get back in touch with him. So if you guys want to talk about anything, let me know in the chat room. I may read over a few other news stories, and we'll just do some critical thinking insight into some of these. U.S. support for Israel could slip. We know that. Did you hear that Netanyahu said there at the end, like 1 or 2 days before he was to be elected, that in no future in which he runs the country would there be a Palestinian state? Now, does this sound reasonable to you folks? Israel was given a state, and that state's been protected very well by them and their allies. But what about the Palestinians that were already there? I mean, we can't say. I'm not saying anything as an American about that. I know what we did to the Native American Indian, and I'm sure when we first came on the land, they were like, "Let's share. Everything will be great." But it didn't turn out that way, did it? Because humans turn into animals when they need stuff, and I just think that you cannot completely rule out the possibility of a Palestinian state that he says is going to be used as a launch pad for terrorist attacks. They've already got Arab states all around you that could be used as terrorist launch pads. So that's not a good excuse. I think you have to go to the table talking about a Palestinian state. You have to, because there's no other way this is going to be settled. Especially with the difference in religions. It'd be different if the religions were very similar, or even if it was like Christians and Jews, because they can get along. But you can't have Jews getting along with Muslims. It's not going to happen. If you know the secret to that, you're about to be rich. Write it in a book and sell it. You'll settle the Middle East peace problem. Something tells me, though, that if you take Israel out of the equation, let's say you buy them some land in Russia and you put them there, I don't think you're going to get a big difference in the activity in the Middle East. Just a whole lot of Allah Akbar. And, kill everybody that even does anything wrong. Kill everybody that doesn't line up perfectly with the Muslim religion. These are the extremists I'm talking about, not the peaceful Muslims. Oh, let's get away from religion, because fuck that. I'd like to know more about what happened with this Navy SEAL, but I'm not going to. It's too depressing. I'm trying to find something that's either just interesting or funny, and not a whole hell of a lot of that going on right now. The Washington Capitals, I think, will make it into the playoffs in third place. If not, they'll definitely make it in on the wild card. That's going to be good. That's my team. You heard about Cyclone Pam. Many persons were killed. Texas State Bar asked court to punish prosecutor for handling of 1992 death. That's going to be an interesting one. University of Virginia student beaten and arrested by alcohol control agents. Wonder if they got that on. Wonder if they got that on tape. PSU frat brothers could face revenge porn charges. You don't hear that a lot in the news. You don't hear the revenge porn threat. It doesn't come up often. Woman accused of cutting baby from pregnant woman's womb. There's a lot of that going on. I've been listening to this guy at Stanford talk a lot, and he basically says, forget survival of the fittest. It's reproduction of the fittest. And I disagree with him on that. I get what he's saying. You can be as fit as you want. If you don't reproduce, your genes are gone. So you're not going to show up in later generations. I get that, but he should reword that. Instead of reproduction of the fittest, it's survival of the fuckers, is what it is. If you're not making copies of your genes, your line doesn't continue. It's that simple. And that's how most creatures think. Make as many possible replicants of myself as I can. They don't think that. It's not conscious, it's subconscious, but it's very strong, and it's an internal desire, and it pushes a lot of behavior. And what was he talking about? Oh, so I was looking at, so this lady here that is accused of cutting a baby from a pregnant woman's womb. This there's also an incredibly strong need inside of a woman, regardless of whether or not she's sane, usually to nurture, to have her own baby, to produce. It is strong. It pushes. It has driven us for probably a couple of million years at this point, maybe longer. I mean, you can go back to our fish days, when we're in the tidal pools and we're flopping around. I think I'm going to try to walk. The tide's going out. Let me see if I can move around on this beach. The next thing you know, you have Paris Hilton, and you're saying, why did we leave Fisherdom? Because Fisherdom was fine. Look, we're Paris Hilton now. I mean, if you look at the human body, folks, I think we are definitely at a nothing but a mile marker right now. We've got to keep evolving because we look pretty retarded. I think our elbows look terrible. Our feet look terrible. Toes look like they're retarded. They don't know what to do. That's why they call toes piggies. They're just like little, I don't know, I'm stuck here. I don't know what to do. I mean, why don't we grow longer ones so we can be like chimps, or just get rid of them? Maybe get fins back so we can swim better. I don't know. I mean, football would change. You got to look at all the things. Like, what if your penis was on your chin? You'd have a whole new way. Everything would change. Where you sit, how you pee, how you eat. How do you hide that when you're aroused? I mean, what if your vagina were both behind your left ear and on the end on your palm? So you had two vaginas per body, left ear, palm, either palm. Depends on if you're a lefty or a righty. So you had two vaginas, and that would help procreation, wouldn't it? Because now you got two options. If one gets destroyed, you got another one. What's wrong with a backup vagina? I think that's a great evolutionary idea. Now, you might argue that didn't happen in our evolution with all the divisions in the family trees, because with two vaginas, the body has a great deal more maintenance to do. But I would say if someone had two vaginas, it probably would come down to double the PMS, everybody gets murdered. So maybe that happened, and that branch died off. You can't have the 2 and 3 vaginas going on, just the one, just maintaining the one. And we'll just do more eggs. We'll do it that way. I don't know. Watching a science show today about the universe ending, and I think that if we were to survive long enough to start to enter the dark age of the universe when the stars are all starting to burn out and stuff, we will have figured out by then how to make our own stars. I don't think that's a big deal, but they're talking about atoms getting stretched and pulled apart and stuff, and I mean, it's just like black holes will rule out when the dark age starts. And when you think about that, you have to wonder, are there other universes? Just now, this is something I've been saying for fucking 30 years. How do we know there's just one universe? We haven't even found the walls yet, if there are any. How do we know? And now they're saying, they're using the beer glass analogy. We're like, what if our universe is just like one bubble in a foaming beer? And there's a bunch of other bubbles, and our bubble happened to be one that had all the right conditions for life to emerge. I mean, it's good to ask those questions because it helps you reset your macro meter, if you will, on the universe. But they're so unanswerable right now. Math can't do it. Math can't do it. They've barely got the math down for black holes now. Have you heard of white holes? It's not a joke. There are white holes. Yeah. They've got basically the black hole gobbling up everything around it, and the white hole, which is just putting out energy in every direction. And they say that if you join the two, you do get a mixed baby. No, if you join the two, you get a wormhole. And, white hole, black hole, wormhole. And that if you could figure out a way to keep the wormhole open, then you could travel across the universe in a jiffy. Would you be interested in traveling across the universe? I wouldn't. Nah, got no need to be over there. What are we going to do over there? Well, we're here. Shit, my radio signal's not going to get there for 14,000 light years, but I told them we were here. What do we do now? Just chill. Okay, let's chill. No, I don't want to go across the universe. First, I want to know what's there. If there's a lot of fucking cool beaches and limitless amount of drugs and sex and rock and roll, then maybe we'll talk about it. False starts dogged the LAPD's murder case against Robert Durst. What do you guys think about that football player? Is he guilty? Is he a murderer? My lady's been closely focused upon that story, and I think her gut's telling her, even though my critical